Okay, now that I've actually checked, I can hear. Hello, everybody, and welcome to round 12 Mexico. We're here with the Deficient 9 drivers. We've got 18 of them, so lovely to see that they've all taken initiative and decided to show up. So great to see that. Before we get on the way, no cars coming out on track, but there is AlphaTauri. Follow him on board, and I will, I guess, just talk about the track and the Drivers' Championship altogether. Let's see, is that Sway? That is Sway, I believe. All the way at the far end. Check their tires first. Okay, so we have 3 people on the mediums at the moment. There are Jeffrey, Blackballer, and Fred the Red. That's bold, but you never know. Saving a set of softs could come in handy later in the race if there is a late safety car, things like that. So, can work out very well. But we'll keep it to none now, so we have more room to work with as BVBBs has retired from the session. Let me just need to check something. So, Mexico, Sway Ross coming around to start his lap. We'll stay off board with him, but we'll follow him around since he's the first person going to be to complete a lap. So, Mexico, 17 corners, 3 DRS zones, 2 DRS detection point, and yeah, really tricky sector 2. So, we'll see if Sway Ross can handle that. Nails turn 1, I think. Cuts turn 2 nicely and hits the apex of turn 3. Very well done. Looked very clean so far. Car behind him is a Red Bull. Don't think they're starting their lap now. But Sway Ross coming down to turn 4 here into turn 5. Very tricky sequence of corners, or for myself at least. Then for the double apex of turn 6 and 7. There we go. Coming to turn 8 now. Stay on board with him here. Through the S section here. Very tough to get right. It looks like so far he's done it nice and cleanly. Still 2 more corners to go. No track limits. But he gets an invalidation on the exit of turn 11 there. So he's going to back out of that one. No surprise there. You want to set a valid banker. And cuts the track there. Beast has left the session here, but I think that is Rolano behind him. Rolano's coming to start a lap now. Another McLaren there. Who is that? That is Leori, also on a lap, I believe. So we'll see what type of a banker he can set. Nice tight line to the finish here. The banker is a 14.9 on softs. I know he can go much quicker. That is... The other AlphaTauri does a 16.0 on the softs. Not the best banker, but... You know what? He will take that. I think that's the monster himself coming around. And he hits the wall. And it still says a 16.3. So he definitely lost a bit of time there. As JD, man in P2 in the championship, goes behind Leori, his championship rival, as his teammate goes P2. I missed that. Still a lot of cars coming around, and I'm missing them all. Another McLaren. There is a Haas. That's Kangaroo. I think he's coming to start his lap now. We have a Aston Martin. That's Blackballer. Both Mercedes. To see if one of them is KSA. KSA is pulling into the pits, and that is Fred the Red. I believe probably starting another lap. It looks like he is starting another lap here. There's the Red Bull of Rolano. Let's watch him through sector 3. All mechanical grip this section, so you might want to save some tires just for this section here, because I've just realized he's invalidated, so there's really no point in me talking about his lap. But I think he's starting again, taking a nice wide line. See if there's anybody behind him. We'll stay on board, or off board, but following him around the track. Really nice shot there. As he comes down to turn 1, braking point is the 100-meter board. Cutting turn 2 if possible, does that, hits the cover a little. Same with turn 3, gets so much oversteer, but he keeps it in the track. Practically drifting on the exit there. Another braking point around 100 meters. Don't know if the boards are going by, I've not seen them. Here we go then through the double apex. You don't want to get too close on the first apex, but you want to take the second apex to carry as much speed into the next part of the circuit. Here we go now through the S's then. You want to cut this entire section, or at least go over the curbs. It goes a bit wide and he cuts the last corner of the S's and he gets an invalidation, so it's not going to be a banker for him anymore. Unfortunately, he's invalidated both runs so far. Mr. Chris gets a 5-second place grid penalty, or 5-place grid penalty for collision with Samibo. So I wonder what happened there. But right now, it's a McLaren versus a Ferrari it's the McLaren team versus the Ferrari team at the top right now. Let's talk about the championship so far. We got Leori, the man in provisional pole position, in the lead of the championship by 30 points to JD, the man in P4 at the moment. If Leori to win the championship with I guess 3 rounds to go or 2 rounds to go, he needs to outscore JD by 22 points. So that means that Leori has to win, and JD cannot score higher than, I believe, 9th. And we're going into the pits now. So as I said before, Leori needs to outscore JD by 22 points to win the championship here and now in Mexico. It will be a tough challenge because a lot of factors will come into play, as JD needs to finish at least P9 for Leori to secure the championship this round, and most likely that will not happen, as we got KSA coming to start his lap now. We'll stay on board actually, why not? Like I said, breaker point around the 100 meters at the 100 board. There we go, braking, clipping turn 1 apex, cutting the second corner, but he doesn't. He stays nice and away from getting a track limit invalidation there. Now down to turn 4 here, breaker point again, the 100 meter board. There it is, you see on the right, he's broken. He's stomped on the brakes. He sets a purple sector 1 here, but it goes wide, and oh, that's some oversteer there because he was accelerating on the curb and he's invalidated, unfortunately. Mexico, really tough circuit on traction, and we've seen that here with a lot of drivers so far. I think Amaguna is on the lap right now. Through the S is nice and clean. Here we go. Down into sector 3 now. Let's see. He sets a purple sector 2. We'll see if he can snatch provisional pole position. He has 1 sector to go. Breaker point just before the curb at the black box as well. Gets a little bit of oversteer on the exit there. As I said before, really difficult on traction. Here he comes to the line now. Shortest to the finish. What's his time going to be? It's going to be a 15.5. That's going to put him provisionally P4. We have people crossing the line. Is that Fred? That is Fred, but he's going into the pits. I think that is XS coming to start their lap now. Getting down to turn 1 here. We may have a few drivers who are further up ahead in the track. Here we go, we have the AlphaTauri. I can never pronounce this driver's name. I say it time and time again. That makes me feel very, very annoyed at myself for not being able to pronounce their name. But also a little bit of sliding at the end there, but managed to keep it nice and under control there. Into sector 3 now. They set a purple sector 2 into the last sector. Really tricky hairpin and a few sequence of corners after. Staying away from track limits there to not get a track invalidation. Over the curb, shortest line, goes P2 with a 15.3. So it looks like Leori's still the man to beat here. Really making himself a hard opponent. Unfortunately, I've just realized or just learned why BVB Beast, the man in down in 16th, has retired and left the session. Unfortunately, his wheel is broken. Very, very sad to hear, as Jeffrey goes P2 now. I think that's X is going to come across the line. Don't think they sent a valid lap yet. But here we go now with the monster himself behind a Haas. Don't know if the Haas is on the lap, but the monster invalidates after going out wide and hopefully these drivers have read the briefing, because there were track limits and other places where this track can be exploited in terms of getting more time, etc. So hopefully they have read this, otherwise they will receive a penalty for it. But he is invalidated. Let's see if Larry's on lap. I think he is on the lap. Let's go with him. He is coming down towards the end of Sector 1 now, entry of Sector 2 here. There's a Mercedes who spun, but we'll see who that is in a moment. Larry kind of missing the apex there. Taking the second one really nicely. Up to turn 6 and 7 now. Double apex. Like I said, kind of missing the first one, but trying to hit the apex as well as he can on the second one. Purple Sector 2 here. This is going to be another provisional pole up if he can keep it together and not lose his time. Looking very good right now. The Mercedes laying him through very nicely. I didn't even see him there. That's how nicely he let him through. Shortest line. And he goes provisionally pole, stays provisional pole position with a 14.7. So about 2 tenths faster than his previous lap. Is that Jeffrey? No, that isn't Jeffrey. That's Rolano. Still hasn't set a valid lap yet on the mediums, trying it on the mediums. Let's see what he can do. Actually, scratch that. We'll go to Mr. Chris, who's coming to finish his lap now. He goes provisionally P3. Still Lowry, the only man into the 14s, but surely we'll see Jeffrey beat that. He's only 25 thousandths off that KSA. He is starting his lap now. We got Kingaroo going into the pits here. I think I saw that. I think that was Rolano who's actually spun. Yeah, he has spun and he's broken his wing. So unfortunately for him, he's not having a great day here in Mexico. Really tough. People coming to finish their lap now. Didn't see that before, but XS went to provisionally 4th position on the grid here. I think that is going to be Fred the Red, going to finish his lap or start his lap. I think he's starting his lap, considering his ERS levels are quite high for somebody who's supposedly ending a lap, so he's definitely starting. We've got Demon, or I mean the monster himself, starting his lap now. I think that is Mr. Chris in his in-lap as well behind him. That's KSA behind Chris as well. KSA, so far so good, it's valid. Let's see what time he can set, what time he can put on the board. He goes P10 with a 15.6 here. If I'm not wrong, that's Rolano going to come back to the pits. Yep, he doesn't have a front wing. Sway Ross down on his time, goes into the pits as well. We have 4 minutes left, so drivers most likely have only 1 or 2 runs left. Depending if they leave now, they might be able to get 2 runs in with 5 kilos of fuel, because that is possible if you back out of your first one, if you back out of your first run, mainly because you could just save fuel that easily. So far only a few cars out on track, but we see KSA improving, but as I go to watch him, he invalidates his run. And that is not great for him, if I must say so myself. Not great at all. There we go, putting it to the pits now. We have Amaguna starting his lap here. Purple Sector 1, it's a 28.3. Samiba's retired. I think he's lost it off of the S's. It looks like he has. Unfortunately, we're not going to switch to him. Going to stay on board with, or off board, but following his lap around of Amaguna here. Through the S's now. There we go, there's Samiba. He's definitely hit the wall there and had to retire due to terminal damage. Here we go, really clean S's from Amaguna here. Not a purple sector 2 here, so doesn't look like he's going to set a provisional pole lap, but he goes out wide. And he's nearly lost the car there. Again, nearly lost the car. And Laguna goes P8. So a lot of drivers starting to line up now. Both Ferraris on the outlap. They've dropped to P9 and P10 when they were provisionally P3 and 4. So let's see. It looks like Dinak is going to give his teammate JD a slipstream. He needs to get up there because Leori's going to run away with the championship at this point. Look at this very nice slipstream. So much time is going to be gained here. Moves out of the way before the braking zone. And braking down. Nearly losing the car there. Get a better picture with the telemetry off. Here we go. Let's see how much he's up on his time by. He's up 5/10. This could be into the 14s, and it could give him the provisional P2 that he needs to stay behind Leori. P2 in the championship. He wants this championship. Doing everything he can to get his teammate, giving him a slipstream. Great teamwork from the Ferrari boys. Through sector 2, he's lost a bit of time. He's only about 3/10 up now. He's lost 2/10 with the S's. Red Bull getting out of the way nicely there. JD coming to finish his lap now. It's going to be a 15-1, puts in P5, 4 spots behind Leori, his championship rival. The closing stages of this race, as Rolano's retired now. Zero's starting his lap, it looks like, again. Let's see, let's go to... Here we go, we're with Mr. Chris here. On his lap through the S's. Goes provisionally P2, about 11,000 behind his teammate here. Leori is invalid, so that means he's going to pull into the pits and save the set of soft tyres. We have Jeffrey behind him. Can he displace any of the top 2? He can't. He goes P3, 500ths behind Chris. It looks like it's a McLaren 1-2 right now. Can Dinak do anything? No, I think he just went P5 there. Really unfortunate. Sway Ross on the lap. Looks like Sway Ross is still on the lap here. It's valid. It's good. What can he do now? Coming towards the line. He goes P6. It splits the 2 Ferraris. We have a Mercedes. It's Fred. Fred is up on his time through sector 2. Let's see what he can do. He splits the Ferraris even more and goes behind Sway Ross and in front of JD. So JD really in a tough position at the moment, it seems, because he needs to finish P8 or higher. And by that I mean he needs to finish P8, or he needs to finish inside the top 8 to be able to stay in this championship fight. Otherwise, his championship hopes are over. If he finishes P9 and Leori wins, that means that Leori takes the championship. But Leori has to win here. And JD needs to get a P9 in order for Leori to become a champion. But let's go through the grid now. We've got Leori, P1. Chris in P2, so McLaren 1-2, but unfortunately Mr. Chris, as we said before, has a 5-place grid penalty, so that promotes Jeffrey into P2, XS P3, Dinak P4, Sway Ross P5. Mr. Chris would be here in P6. It looks like. Oh, sorry, in P7. As we're waiting for the formation lap to take place, let's look at the constructors' standings here. So, no doubt, no surprise that McLaren are leading the constructors to Ferrari by 26 points heading into Mexico, with the Red Bull in third, 99 points behind. So it's not looking too good for other constructors, apart from Red Bull apart from McLaren and Ferrari. Look like the only two contenders for the constructors' title. Here we go then. Larry getting underway for the formation lap here. Jeffrey behind in P2. Can't even change camera angles. Why the hell can I not do that? There we go. Off-board seems so much better. At least when you're not driving. And if I'm going to be honest, I kind of expect some of the front runners to run away with this here, because you can make a little mistake around Mexico and it costs you so much time. So it's all about consistency right now. Don't need to be the fastest, but need to be the most consistent, especially with track limits. Track limits are going to be killer around here for drivers. I'm going to assume drivers are going to end up on, or a few are going to end up on 12-second penalties. The most I would say a driver should end up on is probably 6 seconds if they can help it. But obviously you don't want any penalties to begin with. But Lowry now really doing a really fast outlap, and XS needs to make sure that she closes up that gap now. Because it is a 10 car length that the gap must be maintained at. And right now it is more than a 10 car length. As they're passing Simi, but now I got disqualified from the session. Here we go, drivers getting lined up now. Fortunately, BVBB's his ghost at the back after having to leave the session from a broken wheel. His ghost car will stay in the race, but I don't think it will cause any problems, only maybe in possible safety cars. But here we go then, drivers loading in. 4 and now 5 lights. It's lights out and away we go. Division 9 is underway here. Looks like Lowry got a better of the start. It looks like XS is already past Jeffrey here. Jeffrey tucking the slipstream of Lowry there. We'll see. We'll look behind here. There's a mess. It's 3 wide going to turn 1 here. Let's see who comes ahead. Jeffrey breaks that a little bit later. He maintains his P2 position. XS maintains their P3 position, with DNAC coming up to P4 here. And a few drivers losing some places. I think that's Kangaroo and Rolano. That's Rolano round. He's in last position at the moment. People losing a ton of places here. Everybody battling. We have Swayros and Fred going side by side here. It looks like Swayros got pushed out wide a little. Looks like he's going to settle for 6th position now. I think that's KSA fighting with the monster himself, looking to get past on the medium compound of tires. The monster himself doing really good into the top 10 on mediums. It's Fred the Red. What's happened to him? I think he's made the mistake, and this is, like I said before, it's going to cost them so much time if they do make a mistake. Was that the monster trying to go for a move? I think this KSA trying to force the monster to go defensive here. Here we go, on board with KSA. Going a bit wide here. We got the Alpha... Oh, so yeah, the Alpha Tauri and K1, another championship contender in P3 in the championship so far. If he wants to keep his championship hopes alive, he needs a very good result here. Is this Amaguna going to go for a move on JD? This is crucial for JD. JD can't let this go. He needs his position. Every position matters in the championship. As Black Ball is retired, he's retired into the pits. I'm not sure why he's retired, but maybe he's had front wing damage and he's unfortunately not able to continue, and that's not what we like to see here. No, I think that was K1 getting past the AlphaTauri behind him in P13 here. Oh, who was that? I've just seen somebody... I thought I heard so much wheel spin, but I think that was the Mercedes of KSA. Unfortunate for him, he was running in such a good position. I think it was P11, but see how quickly things can turn. Like I said, consistency is key. Now, on board with Leori, he is out of a second so far. Let's look at his ERS levels. So generally the same between the top two here. And it looks like Leori's just running away on pure pace at the moment. I think that is Amaguna and JD still fighting here. Amaguna with the outside line, he's going to have more momentum coming off. He's going to probably get the move done here. They won't have DRS here, but it looks like Amaguna is going to use the DRS to get away from JD and close out to the back of Sway Ross, who's already flashing here. Now Fred the Red is closing up on JD onto the back of the Ferrari. And X is still 5 to 6 tenths on the back of Jeffrey. And Jeffrey really struggling to keep up with Leori, it seems like. As we get our first set of penalties, both AlphaTauris on the penalty at the moment. Jeffrey managing to get back into the DRS of Leori, that was crucial. You can't let Leori run away with this at the moment. He needs to stick with him, and DRS will help him massively here. Get the rear wing open. There we go. And as they close up that gap, I think that is going to be Amaguna going to make a move on Sway Ross. Sway Ross without DRS, without any ERS to defend. Going to be a sitting duck on the straight. Will JD be able to make a move at the end of this? We'll see. JD pulls for the inside, breaks a little bit later. He goes down the inside of Sway Ross, but Sway Ross has the inside line again, leaving the space. They touched a little bit. There's a little bit of contact. Something's happened to Fred as well. I think Fred was just being very cautious there. But Sway Ross again without any DRS or ERS. Fred is going to try and send it. Moves back to the racing line. A little bit of a dummy, a little bit moving under braking, but didn't really affect too much. But now Fred has the inside line for the double right-hander of 6 and 7. Here we go through the S's. A tough place to go side by side. Let's see if they can do it. But it looks like Sway Ross gets the position still. The monster himself looking to snatch any positions he can on the medium compounder tires. They're losing a lot of time. Fred Red with a penalty. Now the all-shot runners are losing a lot of time with some of these soft runners battling. And Mr. Chris with his own gap to the front runners as well. We'll see if Jeffrey can make any moves. Tire wear is a killer. Looks like he's just saving ERS. Good man. He knows what he's doing. He has it under control. Leori also comfortably in the lead. 44% ERS. He's doing good. And as we can see with the ERS of Jeffrey, doing much better than 44%. A lot easier to save ERS with the help of DRS, as you have more speed going into the corner, which means more braking. Therefore, more energy is being harvested from the brakes energy. The monster himself gets a penalty. I think, who is that? Someone spun? I think that was the monster. And he has spun and he's broken his front wing. Very unfortunate for him, but now he's basically in last position here. Behind KSA, who spun earlier without a front wing, so that means he's going to have to make a stop. If I was him, just go to the hard tires and try and go to the end, or at least hope for a safety car, because right now there's not a lot he can do. He's going to lose more time than a normal pit stop because he has to change his front wing. But we're going to get rid of the tires for now, like I said, so we have more room to work with. Actually, let's look at the position changes. So, oh, I guess D-Nac didn't move up into P4. I guess he was already P4. Silly me. But Relana has a 3-second time penalty. I think he himself has spun. Let's have a look. I think he has spun. Does he have any damage? Doesn't look like it from the right. Doesn't look like it from the left. But let's see now. Jeffrey 4/10 behind the championship leader of Leori. Through the S is now so hard to follow through sector 2 because of the dirty air. It's alright if he loses a bit of time. XS behind now. Pulled out the DRS of I don't know. I think I'm. Oh, I have the gap to leader. Oops. Thought I was going crazy for a second. I thought D-Nac was out of DRS, but he's not. He's still in the fight. The top 4 pulling away. It's a 4.5-second gap now to Chris. Behind them is Amaguna. He's going to look to make the move. Let's see if Jeffrey's going to make the move. He's ever closer here. Looks like he has so much more overspeed than Leori. He's going to go for the move into turn 1. Pulls back to the racing line. There we go. Move it done and dusted. Leori's not going to have DRS for the second straight. And there's only one detection point. That is before turn 15, if I'm correct. Turn 14. I think it's on turn 14. But we'll see. Leori keeps the position. Penalties racking up ever so quickly. Not much action happening right now. Oh, say not much action, but do you notice that Amaguna got past Chris? Maybe Chris can get him back on the main straight. Taking it super cautiously, getting a much better exit than Amaguna here. And it looks like he will be in striking distance. Let's see now, Amaguna is flashing with ERS. Chris is tucking into the slipstream. He wants to make this move. He wants that P5 back. He's going to go for it. He's going to go for the inside, but he's not going to... Why is he not going for the move? I'm really unsure, but... I mean, fair enough. And there's a little bit of contact there. We saw from Amaguna and his steering wheel of Chris there, but it looks like JD's gone past the pair of them. They're side by side going into turn 4. This is a horrible camera angle. Can we switch? There we go. We see Chris taking the corner as he's allowed to do, but we're going to see JD going around the outside. Chris didn't get as great of traction as JD did, and now JD is up to P5 crucially for his championship hopes. You see now, top 2 still without any penalties, and JD is without a penalty right now, but he is 7 seconds back from the leading group. Oh. Sorry if I'm a bit knackered. I just came off a league race, so I am struggling to put some energy into this, but we're going to try our best. Still got so many laps remaining for anything to happen. Let's see, is Leori going to go for a move? He fakes the inside, maybe trying to put Jeffrey off a bit to break a little late, but Jeffrey doesn't get put off at all. Now XS right on the back of Leori. Don't think a move will be able to be made. So we have a yellow flag. Somebody has spun. That is the Alpine of Amaguna. He was sitting in P6. He's now down to P11, getting past left, right, and center. He's going to go into 14 probably at this rate, but he has Rolano on the back. And this is the point where softs will start going off more and more. Am I going to have any damage? Doesn't look like it, but the rear tires probably, with that spin, are going to be dropping off immensely here. Going wide, KSA desperately wanted to get past because Rolano's going off into the distance. He's getting held up massively by Amaguna here. And I think let's look back to the front now. Lowry is nearly out of a second, but he will get DRS. I think he was in second at the DRS detection point. Now Casey's retired from the session. I think he's lost it out of the S's. I wonder if that's going to be a safety car. The switch to Beast's Ghost is like a secondary camera so that we can look at everything that's happened. Let's see where his car is. His car is there. It looks like terminal damage there. He lost both his front wheels. And that's never what you want to see. Back to the front, no safety car. Lowry has some oversteer. He has to go wide there. Casey's left the session in frustration, understandably. End of lap 10 now. Lowry's still behind Jeffrey. Looks like Jeffrey's kind of pulling along the top four here. But this is helping Lowry, XS and DNAC. They're just sitting behind, hopefully recharging ERS, waiting to strike. Would love to see them come back. As Chris gets another 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. It's not ideal. Same with Samibo, 5 seconds for speeding. I've just gone blank. Let's have a look at K1 here. Just third in the championship. He did have a qualifying ban from last round that he did serve in the qualifying session here today at Mexico. But he's already up to P7, and I guess before the end of the first stint, or at least the end of the first stint for the soft runners. Let's look at the tire now. I wonder if Fred is on the softs. He is on the softs, so that means I think K1's tires are much better than Fred, as Fred dives into the pits as I say that, so no surprise there. Still the top four yet to pit here. DNAC on the back of XS, on the back of Larry, on the back of Jeffrey. Just a little train. Really pulling each other along because it's actually quite good. It's helping them from getting away from the all-star runner, so very good from the top four. And here we go. I think that was Amaguna getting past Samibo there. So fresh softs versus fresh softs. It looks like Amaguna's got the better of Samibo. A lot of suffering. So people are looking to do a 2-stop at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. And let's look to the front here. Lowry on the back of Jeffrey, closer than ever. Like I said again, still struggling to follow through the S section so much that XS behind Leori, looking to make a move, doesn't want to be stuck behind Leori. I feel like XS has a lot more pace than Leori at this stage in the race. You can see the blistering tires. Tires are going off at this point, or at least the softs are. Mediums still have about maybe 10 laps in them, as Jeffrey is the one to pull the pin. He goes into the pits. We'll see what tire he goes on to, but Leori and XS and DNAC staying out most likely. I think if I was them, I'd just go a bit longer. Leori moving a little, maybe wanting XS to go for the move, but if I was the top three at the moment, I'd just go long and stretch the softs as much as possible, because the undercut is inevitable, and having fresh tires or having much fresher tires is beneficial, as Jeffrey we see is going on to the medium tires. So the mediums can definitely make it to the end, but we might see Jeffrey do a two-stop, going for soft, medium, soft strategy. If you're just joining us, I'm gonna go through it. We'll go through some stuff again as we see XS really pushing Leori around, really struggling to get a pass. And it looks like they're going to go for the move now. Going down the inside. Getting the move done before the hairpin of turn 13 into turn 14 now. I wonder if they're going to go into the pits. I think they will. XS diving, all three of them diving into the pits. Let's go on board with Jeffrey. Let's see where he is. He's coming up to turn 13 now into the hairpin behind his teammate. So his teammate would probably give him DRS here to help string him along. But here we go. Did something happen to Rolana? Has he spun? He did spin. I was wondering, and it looks like Jeffrey's going to come out comfortably ahead. Look at that undercut. We'll see as soon as the other guys come out the pits and get up to speed. But right now it's 3.5 seconds, 3.6 is still going up, 3.7, 3.8 it looks like it's gonna be. Might stay at 3.7. Wow, he's done about a 3.3 second undercut on the cars behind. So this shows you how powerful fresh tires are compared to dead old softs. And great job by Jeffrey to make this undercut work this well. And now XS, Leori and DNAC should probably work together here to catch back up to Jeffrey, because fighting is only gonna seal Jeffrey's potential win at this point. There we now in the back of XS we have JD and I think that's just JD pitting. The championship won't be over unless Leori wins and JD finishes 9th. Do you see now Leori getting past XS? This is what they need to do. They need to just DRS train all the way up to Jeffrey in order to make up that lost time from his undercut. Otherwise, if they can't do that, then Jeffrey's just gonna pull away at this point, and that's not what the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place drivers want. Leori looking strong in qualifying, but it looks like Jeffrey's had a bit of an advantage in the race pace. We'll see if Leori has an answer to that. I've just noticed that Mr. Chris has pitted for the hard compound of tires, so we could see him come back at the end of the race here, because the mediums are so much better on this track at least. But when they start to die off, then the hards will come into effect. But might see Chris come back at the end. I think he's lost about 2 seconds already. I think he is diving to the pits. I wonder if he's spun and broken his wing. Let's have a look as he heads into his box, and he's retired from the session. Not really what you want to see, but I'm not sure why he's retired, if I'm going to be completely honest. I do have an idea, but we'll leave it for now. I'll stay with the action, but I am going... Oh, no, Chris has left. So it looks like he just was not bothered. And like I said, it's not great to see, because I guess everybody wants to have committed drivers, and people that just retire is not really professional. But we move on to the race at hand. I am having a deja vu, but nonetheless, it looks like Leori's not really closing up on XS. Oh, sorry, I mean Leori's not really closing up on Jeffrey, but there is a retirement. That is Rolano. Let's see, Jeffrey's gonna. Oh, I mean, K1's gonna go past that. Hopefully, it doesn't disappear by the time we get there. But again, that is no safeguard. Safeguard is on reduced just because of the amount of little incidents that bring out safeguards, and I think, unfortunately. Well, I mean, unfortunately for us, we don't see where Rolano has retired from the session. Jeffrey's closed up 3 seconds to K1 at this point. Penalties being racked up ever so slowly. Jeffrey and Leori still without any penalties at the moment. We don't know how many warnings they're on, but we know they're going to try and keep it as clean as possible. Take it off the tires. Well, actually, no, I want to look at the penalties. So, Fred the Red. 9 seconds so far. Lots of other people on different amounts of penalties. Now what these guys need to be doing is they need to be passing each other with DRS, because XS staying behind Leori and then switching off DRS or not wanting to go for the move is not the right call. The DRS person needs to pass the one without DRS so that they can just keep gaining more time. As I've just seen, or as we've just seen XS do. Now blue flags for the monster himself. Letting XS, Leori and DNAT go through here. So now Leori behind XS with a bit of a gap, but maybe just close up with DRS here. Not gonna go for the move. Definitely way too far back. I mean, Jeffrey still closing up to the back of K1 here. He's doing a splendid job of maintaining the gap to XS and still closing the gap to K1. He is going to the end. It's lap 20 out of 36, just 16 laps to go in this Mexican Grand Prix. As Amaguna and Kangaroo pit. As now Leroy gets past XS. K1's pitting before Jeffrey's caught up to him. Gap's still 3.5. It hasn't really changed since Jeffrey got the pit, so if I'm going to be completely honest, it doesn't look like Leroy, XS and DNAC have done a really good job of using the DRS to catch back up. I really don't know, but I wonder how long I was muted for. I just completely forgot if I was muted or not, but like I said, we move, even though it's really upsetting for me. But JD now on the back of Fred the Red. Avoiding track limits. Don't know if that was intentional, but as I said before, it was mentioned in driver briefings, so the gap has sort of pulled back 5/10 from Leroy to Jeffrey, but they need to be catching, I guess, a faster rate because they don't want their tires to drop off and then end up catching Jeffrey. Even though Jeffrey was the one to make the undercut, Jeffrey at this point, I'd assume, is not really pushing too hard, as I think that's the monster himself who spun again and broken his end plate on the left side of his front wing. The K1 on the back of Fred on fresh softs here. It looks like Fred has had some oversteer and had to cut the track a little, but that's just allowed K1 to get past without any hassle at all. K1 trying to close the gap up to JD now, who's flashing. We can see that. We can also see K1's ERS level is about 30%. Looks like 30. I think so. I can't really see that correctly, but we'll go off to 30 right now. And again, the gap between Jeffrey and Larry has pulled up to 3.1 when it was 3.0. As K1 gets a 3-second time penalty, still the top two without any penalties. So at this point, it looks like that will be the top two finishing order, even if Leroy gets passed by both the DNAC and XS. Well, as K1 goes for the move now, Don't know if that's the smartest move because he won't, or actually no, he will have DRS from BVB Beast's Ghost car. So I guess it was timely to do that. And look at the grip advantage; he's already stretched the 8/10 gap to JD within like 3 corners. So it was timely. He needed to get past. He doesn't want to waste too much time. He's got to close up a 9.7 gap now. The monster has left the session as he's retired. So fortunate for him, he has not had a good race at all. Still now the battle for P2, Lowry in front of XS and in front of DNAC. Nothing really happening with the order so far, except it looks like Lowry's closing the gap to Jeffrey ever so slightly here and there. As Lowry just seen that pop up at the top of the screen there, he gets a 3-second penalty. So even if he does catch Jeffrey and passes him, he won't finish ahead. So Jeffrey should just keep it clean now. Doesn't need to push. Let Lowry do all the work, and then he can hopefully or hopefully for himself comfortably drive home. As we have a yellow flag, that's Kangaroo. I think he just spun. So, not ideal. And he's retired from the session as he just hit the wall. Don't know what he's done there. But that is not ideal for him, or if the safety car comes out. Going back on board with Lowry now. Lowry, oh, I'm yawning. Lowry's still closing the gap to Jeffrey. Like Jeffrey has sort of noticed, who is that not getting out of the way? That's Samibo. Samibo, it is blue flags, my friend, that you are a lapped car. Yeah, blue flags again. Samibo needs to get out of the way, yeah. Wonder if Leroy can get into second at this DRS detection point because Excess looks closer than ever. It looks like Leroy's just gonna miss out here. He's gonna use his overtake and close the gap to Jeffrey. He is inside the second. Leroy's managed to pull it back with 7 laps to go here. And Excess is really closing on Leroy. It looks like D-Nax, I don't know if he's missed out on DRS, but he's out of a second now. And that is very not ideal for him because you have a K1 behind him on a set of soft tyres while he's trying to close the gap here. Samibo's retired for the session, losing it. Out of the S's, so many retirements this session, that is going to bring out the virtual safety car here. So it's not a full safety car, but it will be a virtual. Now it's a full safety car. Will we see people dive into the pits here for a set of soft tyres? Jeffrey's going in, Leroy's going in, XS DNAC. Let's see what... If I was K1, I'd also go into the pits, so I'm going to be honest. This K1 gets a track limit penalty for. Guess cutting the track. I'm not sure, that looked a bit dodgy to me, but we'll see. I'm assuming everybody's going to go into the pits at this point for a set of fresh, soft tyres. It's a no-brainer if I'm going to be completely honest. With a safety car, 7 laps to go. That's timely. And it kind of undoes all of Jeffrey's hard work, but then again... Leroy was catching him, so it might not be too bad. And I think even if Jeffrey loses some positions, he should be able to finish P1 due to the penalties. He just can't lose time or get a penalty himself. Has Jeffrey just spun? I think he just spun, and that's promoted Leroy to P1 and XS into P2. That is very, very not ideal. Yeah, apologies for the lack of talking. I'm just struggling to find anything to talk about while the safety car is out, but hopefully it should be going in there this lap. We'll see when Lowry decides to go here. Safety car's in. It looks like he's still weaving a little. He's going now. Looks like Jeffrey's got a little jump on XS, but it looks like DNAC is also right on the back of Jeffrey. Jeffrey might need to defend from DNAC. I think he is closing up on XS as well. XS is going to go defensive. No, Jeffrey's going to look down the inside. He's going to send it. He's going to go down the inside. XS holds the position around the outside. Takes the corner nicely as DNAC gets a beautiful switchback here on Jeffrey. Jeffrey's down into P4. DNAC made the move stick well into the corner. DNAC promotes himself up to P3. Like I said before, Jeffrey can afford to lose positions, but he can't afford to lose too much time as he does not have a penalty. Let's wait. I want to know. Let's go over here. So he has one warning. He can afford to go over track limits once more, and I think that was it. He might have gone over a track limit warning there, and as K1, I think that was K1 who spun now, promotes JD up to 5th. K1 has spun after a very promising race. He spun it in the S's. Unfortunate for him. We'll keep a gap to leader now until or if Jeffrey gets a penalty. To 1.9, he can only afford to lose about 9 more tenths. He can't afford to lose a second, otherwise he won't win. And if I was Lowry, I would really just push as hard as I can to stretch the gap between everybody in the top 4. Here we go, then gap to 2 it's nearly 2.2, 2.1. Jeffrey needs to give it everything he has to win this race right now. Right now he's in a comfortable position to win the race. I wonder if JD's in the mix still. He's only about a second, 1.1 seconds behind, so he might profit from a DNAC's penalty as well. And it looks like XS is out of the DRS of, or at least the DRS 1 second of Lowry, even the DRS is not activated yet, so that could be crucial. It looks like 9 tenths, 9.5. It could be crucial if Lowry wants to pull a bit of a gap to Jeffrey and secure his win. K1's retired. He's retired off track. I wonder how he's done that, if I'm going to be honest, because that doesn't really look like... I don't know how you could lose the brakes and go that far off the track. And still Jeffrey on the back. He can only lose 3 more tenths. It looks like DNAC's really holding him up here. Literally only 3 more tenths. As Jeffrey now has gone past DNAC with the help of DRS. I wonder if DNAC will let his teammate go through here for the championship to get as many points as possible. He will get the position anyway. Now JD still on the back of Jeffrey. Sorry, I was typing. His X is going to go for the move on Leori here. Let's look at the gap to lead. It's 1.5. So Jeffrey's made up about 1.5 seconds to Leori here. So it looks like he will be the leader going to the last lap of this race. He's in net P1 at the moment because he does not have a penalty. As JD's round the back, it looks like DNAC has let him go for the championship, of course, as Lowry gets another penalty. That is 6 seconds. Both XS and Lowry have 6 seconds, and JD and Jeffrey don't have any penalties. So it looks like Jeffrey and JD are going to finish in first and second place here. That's going to put Lowry literally in 4th position. So it's not too great for the championship. He's going to lose out on points. Fortunately, only 10 drivers will finish out of 18, so 8 retirements. Or actually, 9 drivers will finish because Beast, unfortunately, had to leave because of a broken wheel. But we see XS wins on track, but Jeffrey is going to take the post-penalties race win here at Mexico. He's done everything he needed to. Same with JD. Got no penalties, kept it super consistent. Jeffrey walks away with the win, with JD in 2nd position. I wonder who was 3rd. Can't remember who was 3rd, but they did have 6 seconds of penalties. And it's XS in P3, so there goes my question. It's answered. Jeffrey in P1, starting P2. JD, crucially for his championship hopes, from 8th position to 2nd on the grid. Amazing job from JD. XS rounds up the podium. Lowry in 4th. Championship leader still, I believe, of course. And DNAC 5th. AlphaTauri's in 6th and 7th. Amaguna, his debut in the points. Fred the Red. Beast. K1. Samibo. Kingaroo, the monster himself, Rolano, Chris, KSA, and Black Bala, some of the retirements. Thank you everybody for joining me. As I said, Jeffrey with an amazing win. The champion is still alive. On to the next round next Sunday. It will be around Saudi Arabia. So make sure you tune in then for what could be a championship decider. See you all then.